All right. We need to talk about it, chat. You guys see it up here? We got some good news about the at least the English VA side of things, apparently. Well, who knows? It could be that like maybe they were doing something else, or I'm trying to give them benefit of the doubt, of course, you know. Or they were part of the SAG-AFTRA thing and they're being stupid and well, they got replaced for not doing their voices. So now I assume this is probably the subject about the Honkai Star Rail VA, the VA people getting replaced. I think if this is what the subject is about. Let's see. Let's go check it out real quick. Finally, we got some good news about, you know, some English VA stuff at least, you know. About damn time, you know. I was about to lose my mind from the amount of like shitty news we've been getting about it. Oh, actually, speaking of which, almost forgot actually. Hold up. Give me a second. I almost forgot about something. All right. There we go. Sorry, I forgot to add my text thing here. All right, let's go jump into it, shall we?
Hope you guys are having a great week. Sorry for missing you yesterday. Had some personal stuff to take care of. But I returned today to some crazy news. We've got an update in the voice actor stuff over here on the subreddit for Honkai Star Rail, that being a Hoyoverse game, for those that don't know. We've got the title, Kalis and Stell have been officially recasted as of version 3.3. Now, as you guys know, I do play Genshin, but I don't actually play Honkai, so I'd like to get some additional context here at gosugamers.net. We'll just spend like 30 seconds reading the key areas here at the top, where they say, Honkai Star Rail version 3.3, The Fall of Dawn's Rise, dropped on Wednesday, May 21st, with 2 new 5-star characters in Hyacine and Cypher, and Cypher, as well as tons of other additions. However,
yeah, we just saw it, but you disappeared.
As the voice actors for the game's main character, the Trailblazer, have been replaced. In Honkai Star Rail, players embark on an interstellar journey
lose, man.
as the male or female version of the Trailblazer, commonly known by their canon names Salis and Stell. Since the game's launch in April 2023, the Trailblazer has been voiced by Caleb Yen, Kalis, and Rachel Chow, Stell. So it's basically like the Honkai version of the Traveler in Genshin. Let's take a look and see if the voice actors who got recast have issued any statement on this yet. Hopping over to Twitter first for Rachel Chow. We can see the bio does still say ENVA for Stell. And scrolling down, there is nothing as of May 5th. That's the latest post. But her pinned tweet does say, making the jump. Follow me on Blue Sky at the same handle. Chow for now. I'll keep Yield Twitter up so you can find me and to protect this glorious handle. Alright, hopping over to Blue Sky. We can see Rachel Chow is also here, but interestingly enough, on Blue Sky, her username is a little bit different, including she, they in the username. Interesting because on Twitter she put she, they in the bio, but over here it's in the title. I don't know. Is that a Blue Sky thing or something? I have no idea. But the bio does still say ENVA of Stell and Honkai Star Rail. And similarly to Twitter on this part, no activity lately and no statement issued about the recasting. As for Caleb Yen, he does also still say Trailblazer in his bio, but I don't believe he's on Blue Sky. So all we'll take a look at is this Twitter account. And there's even less activity here. Pin tweet from 2021. And the last post actually from back on December 5th.
Well, he's probably off Twitter. Maybe he doesn't like to bother be on Twitter most of the time, you know?
2024. Let's actually return to the Blue Sky account for Rachel Chow, though. I found something that gives some more context. So 2 months ago, we got this Blue Sky post from Shar that says, to Rachel, so glad you could find happiness and have a great day. I miss you a whole lot in Honkai Star Rail, and I send weekly feedback requesting them to sign the interim agreement for AI protections so you and the other wonderful actors can get back to voicing our beloved characters. Hope for
so you're telling me that she wasn't doing her work because she was part of the SAG-AFTRA thing. Well, that explains why. Well, if you're not going to do your work, well, they're just going to find someone else who will. You know, it's just simple as that.
Positive news. Now, hopefully, as you know, and something we've talked about extensively on this channel for a few months now, obviously the interim agreement is about a lot more than just AI protections. That's like the whole Trojan horse thing, the whole like manipulative part that a lot of people have been criticizing. the VAs SAG the agreement for, to put it simply, of course.
Yeah,
but I suppose I'll add on to this
welcome.
really quickly for anyone who may be out of the loop on this still. And essentially, one of the biggest issues is that the agreement and these VAs and SAG are trying to flip these games, Hoyoverse games and other games, to be union-only games, which would come with a lot of negative repercussions.
We're just talking about a subject right now at the very moment.
Such as forcing voice actors who don't want to join the union into joining the union and having to pay those members dues, or risk being terminated from their positions, from their roles. Nevertheless, Rachel Chow responds and says, "Aw, thank you so much. That is really so kind and helpful of you. Hoping for good news soon, too." I guess that didn't age so well, did it? Here's something really funny. So back on the subreddit Honkai Star Rail and the post that we read earlier about this recasting news, you can see a top comment here says, "So it's like Kenichi and Genshin, only new lines for now. Older will be replaced in the future. So it'll be a mix of both VAs for now. There's also lots of NPC VA changes, not even for EN, but looks like for JP also." The response saying, "We live in hope that this means we could still get a recast for Paimon. I will play the heck out of Genshin if they recast Paimon."
True. Hashtag bring Latina Paimon in Genshin Impact with a lowrider. Hashtag Latina Paimon. Trust me, chat. It should happen. 1000%, chat.
Give her free runs English VA and I'm sold. So you can see that the people's dreams for a Paimon recast is still holding strong, still very much alive.
No. Just put Latina Paimon. Come on, Hero. Hey, listen, Hero. Hey, I got a proposition, okay? Bring in Latina Paimon, but she's riding a lowrider. The only reason why, if Malvika can have a motorcycle, a flying motorcycle in Genshin Impact, then Paimon can have a lowrider with a Latina accent sounding super ghetto. Just imagine, okay? Just imagine, right? To just pull out the chancla every single time you start sidetracking in a side quest because you're not trying to find your sister. I'm telling you, man, would be the greatest thing ever.
Maybe more alive than ever now. An interesting point at the top about the Kenichi situation and these VAs getting replaced. I do wonder if when we see the announcement of who the new VAs are for the Trailblazers and Honkai, if we'll see, just like we saw happen to Jacob Takanashi.
I would be curious to if they would recast Paimon. Now, I don't follow any English VAs, right? So I don't know who the English, like, or who are the new ones, or who are the current English VAs. Who would you guys like to see voicing Paimon? That's my question to ask to you guys. I can't really think of anything off the Terry Crews. I don't know about that one. All right, you guys. Okay, all right, never mind. You guys aren't even helping out at this point. You guys are just okay.
That a certain clique of very toxic English voice actors and SAG-AFTRA bootlickers and their supporters will try and harass the new VAs too, just like they did to Jacob Takanashi.
Let Argenti VA voice Paimon. I would download back Genshin and finish the whole story. Who even is Argenti's VA? I don't even know who that is, man. I don't even know. Man, just put some fucking dude in there to voice Paimon. I bet you they'll even probably do a 10 times more better voice than Karina, you know. So I'm just saying, you know, just put a guy, just have like a really like a super like shit. Just have Samuel L. Jackson voice Paimon at this point, man. Hey man, I would totally go back and download the game and play Genshin Impact if they put Samuel L. Jackson as the VA for Paimon, you know, shit. I would totally 1000% play the game if they brought his ass just to voice Paimon. Have Paimon cuss a little bit here and there, you know, and it would just be perfect, you know.
Of course, they all know very well how much backlash they got for that situation, though, so perhaps this time they won't actually do it, even if they really want to. Maybe now they'll be scared of all the backlash that they will get from the communities and the internet at large. It's really crazy how big of bullies these people are. We literally saw some VAs on Blue Sky saying that
Karen
people like Jacob Takanashi
Strassman?
deserve
Okay,
to
I've
be
never heard
harassed
of that
even
person.
more, and saying
Call
stuff like,
traveler,
back in the
do you speak English? And like the traveler isn't speaking or anything. Speak.
good old days of unions, people used to get physically assaulted for being scabs.
English,
and trying to make it sound
motherfucker,
like,
do
oh,
you
Jacob
speak
Takanashi
it?
got off easy. And all the fans mad at us really shouldn't be mad at all. By the way, let me also clarify something. This comment we read a moment ago that I said is a top comment is in fact the top comment in the thread, both sorted by top and also sorted by best. Come on, Reddit. What are you doing? There we go. Okay. Speaking of people upset on Blue Sky about this news and getting mad at the fans of these games, there is some stuff we'll take a look at in a moment where, yeah, there's more people mad over on Blue Sky. But first,
of course,
let's hop over to the Genshin Impact.
Of course, but no one cares about the opinion of Blue Sky people, okay? Let's be honest here.
Subreddit. We took a look at Honkai Star Rail. Now we'll read some over on our Genshin. This post reading, the VAs for Honkai Star Rail main characters have been replaced, which we share the VA of Gaming with. So I guess he'll be replaced soon.
Wait, wait, the VA for Gaming is getting replaced as well? Shit, Chad, I should probably work on my demo reel, actually, to be honest. If I work on it, and then, like, Hoyoverse decides to, like, you know, or one of the Hoyo representatives, like, reach me out or so, you know, then, like, you know, maybe we can probably get a replacement, you know? Why are you showing me an ad, man?
Oh, hi! It's good to see you! Or is this the first time we met? I'm in so many places and times I have a hard time keeping track of all of it.
That's actually really good because it doesn't sound very, it doesn't sound very nasally. That's actually a pretty good, like, kind of like lolly voice, actually. That's not bad. Actually, that wouldn't be too bad, actually, to have that. But imagine, though, Samuel L. Jackson as Paimon. Just picture it, you know? Just imagine Samuel L. Jackson voicing Paimon. And literally have him yelling at you, you know? That would be the greatest thing ever.
Note about that. Do you guys remember when Gaming was released and people in the community were making memes about, like, gaming, like, wow, they really released a character in a game whose name is Gaming? And then you had a bunch of Twitter cops who are probably now in Blue Sky saying that it's very offensive to make fun of his name. Like, you guys shouldn't be doing that. it's like racist. It's
honestly, those people who make
like
fun of them are just so stupid. Like those people getting offended. My bad. Those people getting offended about, like, some people just making fun of his name or so, right? It's pronounced Gaming, but if you're in the Western side, it's just called gaming. You know, that's literally what it's pronounced in the English dictionary. Are these people, like, retarded or something? Like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, you know, it's just called gaming in the English dictionary. Don't be stupid here, all right?
Further back, it was like when people were mad about the John Lee memes. Oh, you can't call John Lee. That is so problematic, guys. Oh my gosh. Now, look, really quick, as much, like, fun as I'll make at Blue Sky, which is completely justified, by the way, completely justified. I will say, as mentioned, that I have seen some, like, actually, like, cool artists on Blue Sky, so I always feel bad for the people that are on Blue Sky that just went there to, like, share art and stuff.
No, because they think they understand that, like, you know, there's some people don't know about, like, the Asian culture, right? There's some people, right? Some pronunciations are pronounced differently, right? There are some people who know how to pronounce it, and then there's some people who don't, right? Instead of just hating on them, just be like, oh, no, it's not gaming, it's called gaming, you know? And if they still want to make fun of it, it's like, oh, okay, all right. Well, at least they know at the end of the day.
And are, like, not weird. But my gosh, man, that whole website has some serious brain rot issues. It, like Twitter is still bad, but I'll say that it got a little bit better, maybe even more than a little bit better, because a lot of those sort of Twitter got people did go over to Blue Sky. That's a fact.
That's true.
And so, like, while the levels have balanced out a bit more on Twitter, it's like Blue Sky is completely out of balance. There's just so much brain rot there. It's crazy. But going back to this Genshin post
Too
about
many
the
brain
VAs
rots, to be
recasting
honest.
stuff, most of the responses at the top are responding to the question about like Gaming potentially getting replaced. But here's one that talks about VA stuff in general, saying, what are the odds for Zack and Sarah, Aether and Lumine's VAs, these being the travelers, the main characters in Genshin, to also be replaced? I would also understand if they do that, but not gonna lie, I like them so much. I'd be sad if / when that happens. Now, I don't know anything about Sarah, but I will say about Zack, I actually met him years ago, completely through chance at Anime Expo. Was walking around the exhibit hall and he came up to me, we start talking. He mentions he's a voice actor for Genos on One Punch Man, because at the time, I think that was his only like notable role. So it was way before Genshin, this was before Tanjiro and all that. And yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool, hardworking, chill dude. And I'm assuming all these years later, he still is. I haven't really kept up with him, but I can only say good things from my experience with him years ago, so I'm assuming, as mentioned, he's still like that. Point being, he seems like one of the good VAs out there, and I do hope this all works out for him.
I wonder what he's been up to be honest. Zach, what is his name? Zach Aguilera, right? Is he still, like, still doing stuff by any chance? I know he has, like, a YouTube channel where, like, a long time ago when Genshin was, like, exploding or so, he was playing Genshin with, like, all the other VAs and stuff like that. Oh, he's working on Demon Slayer. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I'd be curious if he's still actually doing like Genshin related content or like gacha related content anyways.
Again, a little more of a look through this thread before we move on to the blue sky anger. This next comment reading, I just hope they won't recast Zack. Him, Zhongli, and Ito VAs are the only ones I hope don't get recast. And then this one reading, apparently we have reached the found out portion of FAFO. It's sad too. I do enjoy the current swatch of ENVAs. I really do. But at this point, the game has been revealed. The jig is up. Everyone knows the truth about the strike and its real goal. And I'm frankly tired of having my game enjoyment held hostage by people who should have quite frankly known better. And another comment wanting Paimon to get recast, reading, I hope they can now also recast the white flying turd we have flying right next to us. That takes us over to this exchange back on Twitter, where a Genshin YouTuber said, I really wish there was a better outcome for the English VA situation. But as soon as Hoyo started replacing people, it was evident that they were fighting a losing battle. Response reading, what's crazy about it is that Genshin and other Hoyoverse games aren't even affected by the strike in the first place. The English VAs chose not to record because they wanted higher payments or something like that, with someone else saying it's much more complicated than that, and then a different user responding saying, no, it's not. SAG actors do what SAG does and strike because of AI, quote unquote, when in reality they want absolute control over MiHoYo projects.
Yeah.
They hide behind a facade of AI protections. Hoyo already respects AI protections, and rally everyone, including non-union VAs. When their lies were uncovered, the higher-ups...
Yeah, but like, even then, right? The travelers hardly ever speak. So it's like, they speak like every once in a blue moon, but like, it's not like on the level of like woo-wah, you know?
At SAG conveniently started enforcing their global rule 1. Union actors cannot work on union projects. You mean on non-union projects, I think, but continuing. Holding the VAs that do want to go back to work hostage, it's not that complicated. The SAG VAs just tell you it's complicated to have you feel pity for SAG when in fact they are the problem.
Yeah, they are.
Another response to the initial tweet reading, who was fighting a losing battle? This is SAG's attempt to strong-arm a foreign company into complying with the scummiest contract I've ever seen. Hoyoverse has been incredibly patient with the strike. If anyone is fighting a losing battle, it's SAG. Hoyo isn't going to budge. That seemed to have upset someone else as they say, let's defend the billion-dollar company together, guys, let's go. To which that other user responds, saying if you actually read into it, in this situation, Hoyoverse
even then,
right.
the travelers don't really speak that much, to be honest.
How SAG
like,
after
it's just overall, it's like not like you're losing anything, you know. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, so the traveler doesn't have any like voices this time around. Oh, okay, all right, that's not really a big deal at the end of the day. What was the last time? I don't really remember the last time I heard the traveler speak. I think it was maybe during what is the name? What is the name of that country? Sumeru. I think that's the last time. That's the last time I ever heard the Traveler speak.
Actually defending the corporation in this example, something
that's how long it's been for
rare,
me.
But that SAG-AFTRA and those VAs managed to accomplish through how unlikable they are. Congratulations. We'll take a look at a few more examples here. This one saying it was revealed by Rio's VA that it was just the VA's own volition to strike in hopes of getting Hoyo to sign that for better treatment. The better treatment being the agreement that's really, bad agreement for Hoyoverse and bad for non-union VAs. It was a group effort done by them, the union VAs, rather than being orchestrated by SAG-AFTRA, since Hoyo games weren't supposed to be involved. Joe Zija referring to this action as a collective work refusal. The current video game strike, the official one by SAG-AFTRA, is against a number of major Western gaming companies. According to my recollection, companies such as Electronic Arts, Warner Brothers, etc., etc. Now, it does seem like SAG-AFTRA is involved on some level, aside from just having their members involved, with the collective work refusal against Hoyoverse games, as we have seen them trying to act as a mediator, a middleman of sorts, with getting the work refusal's demands sent over to Hoyoverse and asking Hoyoverse to sign said demands. Some people speculate that they have more involvement, some less, but factually from what we have seen, they are at the very least trying to get this whole contract forwarded and signed by Hoyo. Ultimately, whatever the case may or may not be,
it's not going to work.
Important to remember that SAG is a union built by its members. So by default, by talking about SAG-AFTRA, you are still also talking about its members. Some people try to draw a very clear distinction between the union and the VAs, but the union is made up of the VAs. Now, if we go into further detail, of course, there's a hierarchy, so to speak, with some members not having much involvement. Maybe they just vote here and there. Others are bringing in significant...
Wait, I thought SAG-AFTRA was just VA stuff, but there's journalist in here, dancers. I thought it was just voice actors in general, but I guess it's mixed with other stuff, I guess.
Amount of money and get things like healthcare benefits, but around 85% of members, according to my recollection, don't qualify for the minimum income to get benefits. So there's varying degrees here, of course. And then there's people who are voted in to have these executive positions at the union and whatnot. Regardless, though, it is ultimately made up of the members, and some of those are actors, some voice actors. You get the point. What's interesting is when you see lots of people trying to put all the blame on SAG-AFTRA itself and act like the VAs are all innocent when, as we just discussed, the union is built up of its members. And furthermore, as you can see here and elsewhere on the internet, such as Reddit, etc., etc., some people try and cite Erica, the VA for Venti, as proof that SAG is forcing VAs to do certain things and that they don't have free will of their own.
Yeah.
For example, this comment that reads, VAs that are part of the union could get blacklisted by SAG-AFTRA if they continue to work. Venti's VA confirmed they are being sent threatening emails by the union. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, VAs are not the main people to blame. Well, in some cases, they are. In some cases, VAs have outspokenly bootlicked for the union and harassed people like Jacob Takanashi. In such cases, absolutely the VAs are also to blame because they're enabling the predatory behavior going on at SAG-AFTRA and harassing people who would stand up.
Bro, I would just do my work. Like at this point, for me, right? I would just do a booth or so, a makeshift booth VA, just a booth to record my voices and stuff like that, right? At home. And just send it over to to the game company or whatever, at this point, and just kind of yeah, here you go, here's the voices or so, here, take it, I wouldn't even want to go to a studio at that point, just make my own makeshift, just cut out my workstation here, put some fake walls here, and whatnot, and just kind of do that.
To SAG-AFTRA, and this is something that has also happened to Venti's VA. So I find it kind of messed up actually that this person is mentioning Erica here, the VA for Venti.
Yeah, because I've done VA stuff, right? But I did it by myself. I didn't really need an agent or somebody else to manage, that stuff. I just kind of did it myself, and really didn't need no fancy schmancy group or so, or some management or something like that to do it for me. It was just kind of simple. Granted, right? like I didn't do huge, massive projects or anything like that, right? They were pretty decent sized projects, but they weren't like, ooh, like big, like this stuff, you know. But like, I don't know. That's what I did.
But only mentioning the threatening letters part because it helps their argument, as they try to paint all the VAs out as like innocent, when Venti's VA Erica actually got harassed by other VAs on Blue Sky when she began to expose SAG. And those VAs were even saying things like Erica deserves to get those letters, and they were trying to downplay them, being like, oh, the letters aren't threatening. This is just what happens.
It's
Erica
pretty stupid for that, to be honest.
So give Erica the credit that she deserves for going up against the corrupt VAs and their corrupt union, and stop enabling the predatory behavior. All right, now let's get some Blue Sky anger. We've got this post that says, I've been hearing murmurings that the English voices for Stell and Kalis in Honkai Star Rail have been recast. Regardless of whether that's true, I just need to reiterate my disappointment in the fandom response.
Okay.
That so many people are so ghoulish as to not care about the livelihoods of the VAs that literally give voice to the main characters of their favorite game, because how dare they have to play a game for a few months missing some voice acting?
Well, it's their fault for trying to join this SAG-AFTRA thing, you know? If you don't want to do the work, they'll just find someone else who will, and they'll pay them instead. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's part of it, but you're also ignoring how people just didn't like being manipulated by VAs
Yeah,
that were lying to them about
just
their
do your
demands,
job,
so they're trying to
bro.
do to Hoyo and non-uni VAs. It's funny how this is so often left out by people who are trying to always defend the strike and SAG. They are mindless, petulant black holes of content consumption, and I can't stay. It won't make a difference, but I won't be giving Hoyo any more of my time.
Well, actually, we got some good news on this, because the VAs for Stella and Kalis got replaced.
To drop Honkai Star Rail and all of Mihoyo's other games. You can see they open with their rage post here with a
It's
really
funny
gross
because the English language originated from Europe, so they don't own the English language. All they did was just modified the English language. That's it.
analogy, and then go on to say, quote, the voice actor union is actually bad, unquote, if you don't get bent. So are they just defending SAG there? Is that what they're trying to like get at, I guess? Quote, they aren't grateful, unquote. Dude, it's a job, you know, the thing neither of us have. And then they get really mad at this post in particular.
What do you mean? I do have a job. What are you talking about? What? Maybe you're jobless.
Looks like it's from Reddit, where this person says, Hoyo has shown more patience than nearly other companies who would fire anyone not working, especially when there is no official union strike against any Hoyo games. It's unfortunate that it's come to this, but I'm not surprised by the decision after all being unvoiced for so long.
Well, they haven't really like posted any updates on their replacements, at least the previous VAs.
Response reading, especially since Honkai Star Rail is a game with 8 hours story patch every patch. It genuinely hurts their whole game because it ruins some people's immersion on the story. They simply can't wait any longer since we're closing on the ending of the first half of Amorphous. Actually, that's Amorphous, I think, my bad. They closed their rant by saying, I don't write about games much anymore except for my own blogs, so I feel okay making fun of these people.
What the fuck?
Well, I mean, all we really got out of this is that you're defending a corrupt union, so congratulations,
okay.
I guess. But look at this.
No one cares.
Elsewhere on Blue Sky, there were some people actually defending Hoyoverse. For example, this person says, at this point, voice actors getting recast like that in Hoyo games don't feel so surprising. It just feels so hurtful that they can just throw people away like that. All they want is protection. Is it that hard? Sigh. Well, once again, we know they want a lot more than that. But this response says, what could have happened when you refused to work for no valid and official reason? In this exchange, we can see someone says, as much as I didn't want it to happen, they withheld work. It was bound to happen.
Yep.
It's been ridiculous to not have the main character voiced since 2.6.
Damn.
4 patches. I'm not celebrating them losing the roles, but I am happy to finally have the character voiced again. No hate their way or the new VAs. Ignoring the fact that most video games went on voice/minimal VAing back in the day just so you can rip on people's livelihoods is real rich. Bro, this person was so respectful about it, and this guy is still getting like enraged, like seething over it. Oh my gosh, it gets worse. Look at this. I hope you lose your job to AI one day, and I hope AI prevents you from finding another one. Holy smokes, dude. The SAG-AFTRA bootlickers are crazy. They're always so like mad and weird sounding, man. What are you on about? I know you aren't talking about the strike against MiHoYo. And back in the day, my guy, the strike hasn't even passed a year. I know critical thinking is hard for kids these days, but we can't hold your hand through it anymore. Not that I expect much from a selfish redacted. Bro, are you stupid? You didn't even make a point to begin with. Go ahead and reread what I wrote and come up with something that actually is relevant to what I said, instead of digging up insults, you dunce. One last thing we'll take a look at here. Do you remember months back near the beginning of this whole situation?
Kind of.
When a number of VAs went to Reddit to try and defend SAG-AFTRA and the strike by continuing to spread a false narrative, to which people on Reddit called them out. Some simply asking questions, and these VAs responded by either dodging and not answering.
Hey, I'm just saying, Uncle. Bungie could have used AI art, at least at that day, you know, at least they wouldn't stolen art from someone else. Just saying. I'm just saying they could have just used AI art. Granted, they would get, you know, they'll get flack, right? But it wouldn't be as bad as stealing, you know, a graphics designer art, you know, and then they're called the art raiders, you know. So I'm just saying, you know, AI is on the table for a reason, you know.
Or blocking people, or giving like manipulative lies as a response, to which they got mass downvoted. Well, we'll take a look at this comment from 2 months ago really quick, and you'll see why in a second. It reads, they can't see it on Blue Sky. I asked a few of them to clarify, and they called me names, said I was anti-worker and pro-billion-dollar company, and blocked me. Kit Harrison, Cher Kirby, both did, since I was replying to a thread where...
Well, yeah, AI is supposed to be a tool for you to use. Like, it cannot replace you if there's no person behind it using it. It's like basically it's equivalent to like, oh, guns kill people. No, guns do not kill people. People kill people. A gun is just a tool. How someone is holding that tool and how they're using that tool is basically like, you know, yeah. It's like, oh, we should be going after the guns, the tools, you know? I'm like, no, you should be going after the person who pulled the trigger. And it's the same thing with AI. You know, these companies who got the AI, you know, like AI coding and everything like that to, you know, to steal from artists and like do all this shit and everything like that, you know? It's like, yeah, they're the ones who are well, not really monopolizing, but, you know, trying to do a hustle, basically, you know? Even though it's not their stuff, they're just basically stealing from artists and feeding it to their machine to make better art, you know, well, quotation marks, better art anyways. But that's just generally it. It's just a tool. Like, the tool doesn't do anything unless someone uses it maliciously or, you know, or in good intent. You know, I use it for good intent. You know, it's part of my workflow now. Before it wasn't. But now it is, you know. You know, sometimes I'll draw with AI. Sometimes I won't draw with AI, you know, just to make sure I don't get rusty, you know, just kind of like drawing normally and stuff like that, you know. Like, I gotta make sure to bounce back and forth, you know. Gotta bounce back and forth, you know, so I don't be lazy and everything like that.
They were both in. Blue Sky is great as a safe space for the vileness of Twitter, but I think a lot of people treat it more like a blog than social media. The reason we're taking a look at this again is because I was thinking of a number of the VAs who were on Reddit trying to defend the strike and all that stuff, and I did recall Kit Harrison. So I went over to Blue Sky to Kit Harrison's account to see if he had anything to say about the recent recasts.
Who?
And there actually wasn't anything that I saw. Doesn't seem like he's talking about it, but there is one thing that I thought was rather interesting and give some insight.
Who is this guy? I don't even know who is this guy.
That being this post where he talks about money. The context is, he says, 2 days ago, was driving home yesterday and a pheasant flew headlong into my wing mirror from the side. Heck of a shock. You shouldn't dwell on these things, but if I was driving at any different speed, it would have been way, way worse. Watch out for low-flying birds, kids. First of all, bro, sucks what happened to your car, but that takes us to the quote that he made of that post where he adds onto it saying, "Arg, 75 euros for a new wing mirror and 450 euros for a new door window. Anyone needs circa 1 hour of high quality voice acting?" So you're telling me these guys actually get paid? Like, this guy is trying to get paid what is like close to $600 USD for an hour of voice acting? And no offense to this guy, but he's not exactly a household name. Doesn't exactly have like a big credit list here, and still wants like 600 USD around for around an hour of VA work. Is that really what these people are trying to charge?
Damn.
That's just crazy in my opinion. So yeah, please let me know what you guys think about that. Am I reading that wrong, or is he really trying to charge like 600, just about 600 USD for an hour of VA work?
That's kind of crazy. Anyways, but I don't know what the rest of this. But yeah, overall, like, I remember back in the day or so. Well, this was like before inflation, right? Like I didn't charge that much for like VA stuff, you know. Well, granted, 'cause things weren't expensive back then, but what, it was like, what, like, I think like the highest I got paid for was like 250 for like reading a book, like doing a audio book basically. But like it was like a whole book. They wanted me to read the whole entire book. I was just like, yeah, okay, that's pretty easy. That's not that difficult to do. Like 250. I got paid like 250. That's about it. Not really that much, you know, $250. Like, it was still quite a lot of money back then anyways, but I don't know how it is now these days. So I have no idea how the current market is, you know. Well, you're gonna go to bed? Well, take care, Uncle. Be safe. But yeah, anyways. And that's kind of like basically it. I did a lot of like voiceovers for like certain high school projects and stuff like that. I remember doing stuff like that too as well. Those were not really that expensive. They were pretty easy to do. It was like $50 or something like that. It was not that bad. You know, I did a lot of those. You know, that's about it. I don't remember the books that I did or so, because they were like over 10 years ago. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember the books that I did. It's been a long time. So unfortunately, I don't have my portfolio anymore. So I have to restart all over again with my portfolio. But yeah. Anyways, before I ramble on, anyways, that's the end of the video. You can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. Yeah, who knows? Maybe in the future I'll do a demo reel. Maybe I'll post it on my main channel. Get some feedback from my YouTube community as well, if they want to hear about it. You know, if they want to like hear, I guess, like the new voices that I can do, I guess. Even I don't know what new voices I can do. I'll be very honest with you. I have no idea what new voices I can do ever since I fucked up my vocal cords. But yeah, I think it'd be pretty fun. You guys can tell me what you guys think or so. We'll definitely do it for a fun. We'll do it for a fun stream. I'll do it here on Twitch with you guys. You guys can give me feedback live, and then I'll send it over to my YouTube channel. And then we'll see if my YouTube audiences can get me some feedback too on it. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.